ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोर्श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरकृष्णे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तिशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य तोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु भिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, chapter 29, verse number 1. In the last chapter we read Lord Kapila's instruction on yoga, and beginning from the Yama Niyama, Asana Pranayama, Dharana, Dhyana to Samadhi, he explained everything. And then in the last few verses he spoke about the difference between Prakriti and Purusha. Now in this chapter again his mother Devahuti asked a question about Bhakti Yoga. So this chapter will talk about Bhakti. So Devahuti Ruvacha, Devahuti asked, Lakshanam mahadadinam prakritehe purushasya cha Sarupam lakshate nisham yena tat parmarthikam yatha sankhesu katitam yanmulam tat prachakshate bhakti yogasya me margam bruhi vistarashah prabhu. So he is calling his son as Prabhu or Lord and says that you have explained to me the definitions of Prakriti and Purusha, matter and spirit, as described in Sankhya, and by that one can understand them as separately. Lakshanam mahadadinam prakrite purushasya cha sarupam lakshate amisham yena tat parmarthikam. So by that, and then it is described that the purpose of this is Bhakti Yoga. Parmarthikam yatha sankhya sukatitam yanmulam prachakshate Bhakti Yogasya. So according to her understanding, the purpose of this is actually to come to Bhakti Yoga, to know this distinction. So he says that because Lord has been speaking about Bhakti Yoga, even when he spoke about Sankhya, then in the end he has said, Mad Bhakta Pratibuddharto Mad Prasadina Bhoyasa. So he has talked about Bhakti both in the chapter of Sankhya and after that also. So she wants to understand this Bhakti Yoga. So he says that please explain to me in detail this path of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga se me margam bruhi vistarshah prabhu. Because Bhakti Yoga is very vast. It has many details in it. Unlike Sankhya and Yoga, they are very limited. You understand the tattva when you practice, bas, not much. But in Bhakti Yoga, there are many details because both Yoga and Sankhya, they are based on renunciation. So you renounce everything, then what is detail after that? You meditate. But in Bhakti Yoga, you have to keep everything. You have to remain where you are. Sthane sthitam tanuvag manu tanuvag manobhi vidhan namaste samukti pade laya bhag. Lord Brahma says that you remain wherever you are, sthane sthitam, in your own place, and perform bhakti in your body, mind and speech. And then you become qualified. You actually have a share in mukti. So this is the distinction of bhakti with other paths. That bhakti is all encompassing because it is related with Lord, and Lord is the one who contains everything. In as we read, Sarvabhutesu cha atmanam sarvabhutani cha atmanam. And therefore it considers the whole universe, welfare of everything. So it is very detailed. Therefore she says that explain to me in detail. Virago yena purusho bhagavan sarvato bhavet achakshva jiva lokasya vividhamam sanseti. And says that also explain to me the various destinations of living beings. Jiva lokasya vividhamam sanseti. Because living beings, they are wandering here in this material world and they reach different destinations after death. So what are those destinations? And why she is asking? She says by hearing that one developed renunciation. Virago yena purusho bhagavan sarvato bhavet. So renunciation, what is the importance? Because renunciation a little bit is necessary to engage in bhakti. Kvachum prathamam eva. The Krishna is saying that a little bit is necessary in the beginning stage. Because if one is completely attached, then one cannot perform bhakti. If one is completely detached, then also one cannot perform bhakti. So it is a middle path. And kalasya iswar rupasya paresam cha parasyate swarupam vat kurvanti yad heto kushlam jana. And I also want to know the nature of time, which is all powerful and which is the supreme controller. Iswar rupasya paresam cha parasyate. And it says because of fear of which people engage in auspicious activities. So these are the questions she is asking, and then she is referring to him as the Supreme. Lokasya mithyabhimatera chakshus chiram prasuptasya tamasya nashraye shantasya karmasvanu vidhaya dhiya Tamavirasi kila yoga bhaskara. Say that you have now appeared like the son of yoga. And lokasya mithyabhimatera chakshus chiram prasuptasya. To give light to people who are living in illusory ego, mithyabhiman, false identification, or having false identity, material identity, which is not real for them. So for them you give the eyes, and chiram prasuptasya, those who are sleeping for a long time, you give them tamasya nashraya, have no shelter, swantasya karmaswan vidya, and they are tired of doing activities in the material world. So dhiya tam avirasi kula yoga bhaskara, for them you have appeared like the sun. So this is glorifying him. Sri Vishnu Chakrati comments, एकोनतनिषके भक्तिः सगुणा निर्गुणापि च लक्ष्यते प्राणि सम्मानः क्रमः कालबलश्च तत्. Says that in this 29th chapter there is a description of bhakti of two types, saguna and nirguna. Bhakti which is mixed with the material gunas, and bhakti which is transcendental to the gunas. So both are being described here in this chapter. And lakshate prani sammana. There is also description of prani sammana krama, the order of living entities, the different levels of consciousness. Because he will describe how the different living entities, they have different levels of consciousness. And kala balasyata, and the power of time. So these three things are described in this chapter. Bhakti and different grades of living entities and time. Sankhyaṁ yogam cha shrutva punar ukta anuvad purvakam svanusthayatvat shrutamapi bhakti yogam saprabhedam sushrushamana puchati. After hearing the description of Sankhya and Yoga in the previous 3 chapters, then again after repeating what she has heard, she wants to hear Bhakti Yoga, which is what she really wants to practice. Svanusthaya. The others, she was interested only in knowing what they are, but her real interest is in Bhakti Yoga, and therefore she desires to hear Bhakti Yoga along with its various divisions. With this intention she is asking this question. Mahadadinam lakshanam sankhyesu sankhya shastresu yatha tatha kathitam. We have described the definition of Mahat, Ahankara, Chitta. All the definitions were given in chapter number 26. Yena lakshanena amisham mahadadinam swarupam tat pratisiddham lakshyate gyayate. And by this lakshana we can understand this math, etc., what is their real nature. So lakshana is definition, and it is meant to make us understand what is lakshana. So vyavritti vyavaharo lakshanasya prayojanam. Lakshana definition has two purposes. One is that it helps you to segregate that particular object from the rest of the things, which means you know what is this object. And vyavahar, once you know the lakshana, then you can deal in that object. You have to do anything with it. You have to speak about it, or you have to use it in your life, then you have to know the lakshana. So because by lakshana only, by the definition only, you reach the lakshana, the object. If you don't understand an object, how will you deal with it? So for that reason the lakshana was given, and therefore knowledge of them understood. Kidrisham Paramarthikam Paraspar Vibhaktam. So how are they? The word Paramarthik he translates that they are separate from each other. Tat Swarup Jnanam Yan Moolam Yat Karanam Prachakshate Yam Vina Tesham Swarupam Gyatam Api Agyatam Eva Bhavati. But she makes an interesting point that the Swarup or nature of all these things which were described, it is not understood without bhakti. And without bhakti, if they are understood, then even if you understand them, this is as good as not understanding. So you study the Nireshwar Sankhya, traditional classical Sankhya Yoga system. Now without bhakti, the picture does not become very clear. It's more like science. In science they say that universe came out from a Big Bang. But then question comes that who did the Big Bang? Now our scientists are already raising this question. Recently there was a big article on this. And they are saying that first of all, who did this? Why he did it? How is it possible? They themselves are raising this. This is natural. And then they are also saying that was it the only Big Bang? Did it happen somewhere also? So already they are getting the idea that there are other universes than this. So therefore Bhakti Yoga, because Bhakti Yoga gives the complete picture. And then without Bhakti Yoga you cannot understand even material nature properly. Because Purusha and Prakriti, they are not really independent as explained in classical Sankhya. There these two tattvas are considered as independent and they are working without Brahma. They say that Purusha is conscious but it is inactive and Prakriti is active but it is unconscious. And then question comes if Prakriti is unconscious and Purusha is conscious but inactive, and how they come together? Because why the inert Prakriti will like to come in contact with the conscious being? And conscious being has no movement, he is inactive. So even if he wants, he cannot come in contact. So therefore he said that Agyatam api agyatam eva bhavati. Even if you know, still it is not clear. Therefore in Vedanta Sutra, this classical Sankhya is refuted by Dasa. Tasya bhakti yogasya margam prakaram bruhi. Therefore she said that you please explain to me the divisions and the process of bhakti yoga. Bhaktau praveshaya kinchit vairagyam apekshate iti tadartham prachyate. And for bhakti, some vairagya is needed. If one is totally attached to materialistic activity, then such a person cannot take to any spiritual life. So some detachment is necessary. Therefore she is asking for that. Viraga iti ta sansritir achakshva yena sansriti akhyana. So explain to me the various destinations of the jivas, living beings, so that I become renounced in that. So this is the purpose of explaining these descriptions of various planets and structure of the universe and different types of living entities in different planetary systems. The purpose of this is that after hearing this you lose interest in them. Because all these places are described and then you understand what is the point in going there also. Because whatever you face here, you have to face that wherever you go. So that makes one detached. And kalasya cha swarupam achakshva tetvad-rupas. And also explain time, which is your form. Yad heto yatah kala bhayad heto. because of whose fear people engage in auspicious activities. So mostly people are doing religious or pious activities because they are afraid of time. They have to die, and after death then there is problem if you don't perform auspicious activity, then you will be punished for that. So therefore he says that she says that please explain to me this time. And lokasya mithyabhimater abhiman jadya nivartanaya. So she says that you, Lord Kapila, is like the son of yoga. And what is the sun doing? It says lokasya mithyabhimater abhiman jadya nivartanaya. To remove the inertness of people who are having false identification. So jadya also means cold. When it is cold, then you become inert. You don't want to move. You are inside your bed and it is cold. Then you don't want to get out from that. And if you want to sit down comfortably, you don't like to move. So this is called jadya. Therefore in Hindi, cold is called jada, which makes it jada. Jada means inert. So when the sun comes out, then it removes that, isn't it? When it is cold and nice sun comes, then you become active. So it says lokasya mithyabhimater abhiman jadya nivartanaya. And achakshusas chakshu prakasadana. And because there is eyes are closed, so he gives the light to the eyes. And tamsi sansare prasuptasya swaptamo nasaya. And those people who are sleeping in darkness, which is the material world, to wake them up. So like sun, usually it is understood that when sun rises you should wake up from the bed. Although there are people who go to bed at that time. But in Vedic culture one should not sleep after sunrise. One should get up in Brahma Muhurta, which is 1.5 hours before sunrise. So he says that you destroy the darkness of sleep. Not this darkness, but people are sleeping, so he has come to give knowledge. And karmasu asaktya buddhya shrantasya. And sram pallava sansoshanaya. Those people who are tired because of working in materialistic activities, using their intelligence. So you have come to remove their tiredness by giving the knowledge of yoga. Yoga Bhaskara, Bhakti Gyan, Yoga Kamal Prakash. So although here the word Bhaskar is used, then he is translating it as Bhakti Yoga Kamal Prakash. Because the characteristic of lotus flower is that it blooms when the sun rises, and when sun sets then it closes. So Yoga Bhaskara says that you are like the sun, so when you come you bloom the lotus of Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Jnana, the knowledge about Bhakti. This is how he translates this. So in other words, what he is saying is that you are the light, you are the sun, which gives eyes to those who are blind, you remove the ignorance, you wake up the sleeping people, and you remove the tiredness, and you make people give up their attachment to fruitive activities, You remove false identity and you give shelter. So, in this way, you give your blessings to people. So this is the purpose of Lord Kapila's appearance, according to him. So this then Maitreya, who is describing this dialogue to Vidura, says, Iti matur vachah lakshanam pratinandya mahamunihi avabhase kuru shrestha kritastam karunarditaha. Maitreya said that great sage Sukadeva Goswami, Kurushrestha, he is talking Kurushrestha to Vidura, because Vidura is also considered as Kuru. And really speaking, he was not born in Kuru dynasty. It is son of Vyas. So he is calling him as Kurushrestha. He was considered as one of the brothers of Dhritarashtra and Pandu. So he says that, oh best of the Kurus, Lord Kapila, when he heard these words of his mother, which were very pleasing, Slakshana, he glorified, praised her for asking this nice question. Pratinamdi Mahamuni. And being pleased, he spoke out of compassion, Karuna Adita, being overpowered by compassion for her. Then he speaks. There is no commentary on this. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Lord Kapila said, Bhakti yoga bahuvidho margair bhamini bhavyate swabhava gun margena punsham bhavo vividyate. He said that, my dear mother, Bhakti Yoga is has various divisions because of various paths, and because of the bhava, means the intention of the person who is practicing, then by his intention and because of his nature and his character and the process, particular process he follows, then this Bhakti Yoga has many divisions. So Bhakti Yoga actually is only one, means to perform pleasing act for the Lord in a devotional manner, loving manner. But because people are of different natures, have different desires, so they may follow the process according to their gunas. Then it takes different names, the same thing. It's like if you have, say, a knife, and if you use it to cut vegetable in the kitchen, then it is a cooking instrument. And if you use it to attack somebody, then it becomes a weapon. So it is the same knife, but how you use it, and then depends on what is in your mind, then it takes a different name, although it has not changed. So in the same way, Bhakti is only one. Anukullena Krishnanusirana Bhakti Uttama. To perform favorable activity to please the Supreme Lord, that is called Bhakti. But if we have some other intentions and we take to the process of Bhakti, then he says, Swabhava gun margena punsa bhavo vividyate. The intention of the person is different because of his nature and guna and so on. And then Bhakti also becomes of different types. So this must be understood clearly, so that we don't become confused. Because people ask question, they read about Bhakti and the description may be about the real Bhakti. when they see somebody else who is a mixed, and they raise a question, but why is he doing like this, or he should be doing like this? So you cannot apply that to such a person. And you also have to see whether the person is trying to be a devotee or he is perfected in devotion. All this has to be seen. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Devanam Gunalinganam ityanena nirgunaya bhakter uktatvad iha prathamam sagunam bhaktim lakshyatu maha. So earlier he has described Nirguna Bhakti or pure devotion. Devanam Gunalinganam Anushavika. Sattva Manasa Vritti Swabhav ki tuya. Chapter 1. So we studied that earlier, and that described pure devotion, which basically meant that if you engage all your senses, Devanam Gunalinganam Anushavika Karmanam Sattva Manasya Vritti Swabhaviki Tuya. 22 and 24. Devanam Gunalinganam Anushavika Karmanam Sattva Manasya Vritti Swabhaviki Tuya Anivitta Bhagavati Bhakti Siddhir Gadiyasi Jaretiyasu Yakosam Nigirna Manalayatha. So this was described in 25th chapter. That when your senses, Devanam, Gunalinganam, both working senses, cognitive senses, all their activities, they are naturally engaged in the service of the Lord without any material motive, animitta. And this is called Bhakti. And this is superior to liberation, mukti. Bhakti Siddhir Gariyasi. So this was already described there, and he is going to describe again. But first he describes Bhakti, which is saguna or mixed. Bhakti yoga eka eva bhavini bhavo abhiprayas tadvati purusha marga prakar visheshe bhavido bhavyate chintete gyayate. So he says that Bhakti yoga is only one. There is a difference in reading here. The word bhamini is there. Bhamini, if you take, then this is an invocation to mother. Bhamini means beautiful lady. And he is reading it as bhavini. So bhavini means which has an intention. And therefore a person who has a particular intention, because of that there are various divisions. And thus says bhavyate, or is understood according to the intention. Such a bhava svabhava bhuta ye guna tamadayas tesham margena vritti bhedena vividyate nana vibhedvan bhavati. So how does the intention of a person differ from each other? The intention depends on one's svabhava. There is bhava and there is svabhava. So svabhava is one's nature, acquired nature, which we have acquired from past life, from past activities. Everybody is born with a particular nature. And that nature is because of the gunas. Subhavutaye gunastamadev. So people have nature which is in sattva, rajas, tamas. So you have sattvic svabhav, tamasic svabhav, rajasic svabhav. And because of that, there are different activities you perform. Margena, vritti, bhedena. So then your intentions are different. Bhakti swarupto nirguna api. So the nature of bhakti is nirguna. Bhakti is always nirguna. Although now we will use the word saguna bhakti or bhakti with gunas, sattviki bhakti, rajasic bhakti, tamasic bhakti. But actually bhakti does not become sattvic, rajasic or tamasic. Bhakti is always transcendental to the gunas. But the person who has a particular intention and particular nature, if the person is in sattva guna and he performs bhakti with the intention of sattva, then that bhakti will be called as sattvika bhakti. So that means you perform bhakti with the purpose of bhakti only. Then it is pure. And if you perform bhakti for any other purpose, then it becomes mixed or impure or in the gunas. So purpose of bhakti, if bhakti is performed only for the sake of bhakti, which means only for the pleasure of the Lord and without any other motive, then that is uttama bhakti. That is swabhaviki, that is natural. And if we utilize bhakti for anything else, even if it is performed as a duty, because somebody's father is working in the temple as a pujari, or they have a temple and you are in that family and you take up, then you do that job of doing the worship in the temple. So you are doing it because this is your duty. You will not be doing it with any other intention just because you are supposed to do it. You do it. So that is sattviki. It is also not transcendental. You are not doing it with the intention to please the Lord. You just do it because I have to do it. Or you do it with some other intentions, as he will describe. He will give definition of each one of them. So then it takes a corresponding name. Therefore he says that although by nature it is always nirguna, transcendental, punsam swabhavik tamayadi guno prakta sati tavasyadi namdhi saguna bhavati. But according to the nature of the person, it becomes conditioned by those gunas and then it is called by those names. And then we call it as saguna bhakti. So if you want to see the details of various divisions of bhakti, then Jiva Goswami has done a very elaborate analysis in Bhakti Sandarbha. He talks about Sakama and Kavalyakama and Niskama and then Sang Siddha and Swarup Siddha and what is the other one? Arop Siddha. So he has made hundreds of divisions and he goes into each one more and more details. So at least few hundred divisions and how many you remember? Some 200 or something divisions there. So from different angles he makes divisions, from the point of view of people, from the point of view of bhakti, and then Vedi and Raganuga, and then in that according to your bhava, Santa, Sakya, Dasya, all this, and that again Aishwarya, Madhurya, all kinds of divisions are made. Most elaborate analysis, I think, in Bhakti Sangha. So these verses are all quoted there. So now he describes. So basically describes 4 types here. Bhakti, Tamasi Bhakti, Rajasi Bhakti, Satviki and Nirguna. Because there are 3 gunas of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and then beyond that is transcendent. So first he describes the Tamas. Abhisandhaya yohinsam dambham matsaryameva va sanrabdhi bhinna drigbhavam mai kuryat sa tamasaha. So actually he is not even saying that this bhakti is tamas, he is saying that the person is tamasa. He says that person is a tamasa bhakta. Tamasa means ignorant, who performs bhakti with the intention of violence, means he wants to kill somebody. So you can also do bhakti that you want to take revenge from someone. Like in Mahabharata there is story of Amba. So Amba did bhakti to Lord Shiva to kill Bhishma. Right? So she was very much determined that she will take revenge from Bhishma. So she did bhakti to Shiva and got a boon. So with this idea, if one does bhakti to Krishna, that you want to take revenge and kill somebody, so that person is called Tamasa Bhakta. And he will do everything nicely. If you don't know why he is doing it, you will not figure this out. This is the beauty of bhakti. He is also going to chant, do kirtan, arti, everything, right? So many times you see that pujari is doing puja very nicely. And then after 10 years, one day you figure out that he ran away with all the jewelry. It has happened, you know. So then he wondered what happened to this guy. So that means he was doing bhakti with the intention. And actually when you want to do, when you have a real material intention, then you do it nicely. Those who don't have this material intention, they are very slack. Chalta hai bhai. Because they are motivated. So they are very staunch in their practice. Because they want the result. They are result oriented. Other people are saying, alright, Krishna says if you chant your name once, you become free from all sins. And mad bhakta pranashyati, my devotee never falls down, so I am safe anyway. I'm chanting his name, I don't have to worry. So they are cool and not so rigorous in their practice as these people will be. Because they are not bothered about getting rid of their sin or not taking birth again. They want to take revenge. They want to see the result. So there are bhaktas like that also, who do such bhakti. So hinsa, violence. Or number 2 is dambha. You also do bhakti to show. People make a big show so that people will praise. They will have a big festival, invite everybody, look my deities, how nicely they are dressed, feed and chapan bhog. They offer 1008 dishes, right? At least 108. So you make a big show. Dambha means hypocrisy. That your intention is not to please the Lord, but to show to people how great devotee you are. So this is also a very interesting phenomenon. That when Lord Jagannath Rath Yatra is there, then you take a broom and you sweep. But in the temple when he is there in our body, he is there in the temple, not one day you touch the broom. But when he comes on the street, and there are a lot of people and there are photographers, so especially you have to do it so that the press reporter takes your photo and it comes on the TV or in the newspaper or in the magazine. So that is very important. Otherwise, why not do it every day in the temple? He is the same Jagannath. It's not different. So there, forget it. There only the bhaktas are doing, and they will not be allowed now to see it. Otherwise their photo will come. So this is called dambha. This is called hypocrisy. Just to show. So people spend a lot of money in show business. They do big sacrifice. And so many people feast. In India it is very common. They spend so much money just on show. Otherwise they will not bother to give 10 rupees to somebody or give one chapati. But when it comes to show, then they will spend thousands. And matsarya, or you do out of envy, that you have a neighbor and that neighbor has a small temple, so he buys some crown for the deities, and you see it, he invites you, you become envious, so you buy a better crown. So your intention is not that you want to give a better crown to the Lord, your intention is that you want to show your neighbor that don't think I am less than you. So anything, just an example. If somebody is chanting so many rounds, then you chant more than that, and by showing. So this show is very important. That's why here everywhere you see they put mic. They do some kirtan in the morning, then they're putting a loudspeaker. So there may not be anybody in the temple. They make so much noise, that everybody is disturbed. This is just a show. Why? What is the need? Is God deaf? He cannot hear? Why God needs a loudspeaker? For whom is it? And if you want to put a loudspeaker, put it inside the temple room and face it towards him, so that he hears. No, they will put it on top, so that the whole community is disturbed by this. But they want to show that we are doing something, we are doing arti, or we have a problem. So this is such a big nuisance here, because if there is one temple in the village or city, then it's fine. But here Vrindavan is full of temples and everybody is putting this. So what a noise. So this is called show. And then you may also do it out of envy, that this guy has got loudspeaker of this power, I put even more power in it. So my loudspeaker can be heard half a kilometer away. On the other corner of Vrindavan you can hear this. So this is tamasi. These people are tamasic people. They are ignorant, don't know what they are doing. How does this please the Lord to do anything like this? How is it related with bhakti? So it is for themselves, then, for their name, for their fame, or some other motive they want to show to people and then ask donation for that. So any of these things, that is called tamasi bhakti. So we should make sure that we don't get into these traps, because these are very attractive things. People start doing this because my neighbor is doing, I do it. And there are also people who praise. They will say, well, we never hear kirtan in your place. There is kirtan here. And you start thinking, well, I better I also get a loudspeaker.
He will speak.
So tatra prathamam tamsim bhaktim lakshyam bhaktis tamsi syatiti vaktum anochityam paramrisham tadvan purushayeva tamsadi saddhair uchyate. So first he is explaining what is tamasi bhakti, or bhakti in tamoguna. But then Lord says that it is very improper even to use this adjective tamasi for bhakti, because this is an adjective. So he thought it is wrong to say bhakti as tamasi bhakti, therefore he did not say it. He said that prithak bhava bhinna drik pratak bhavas kuriyat sa tamasa, that person is tamas, not bhakti. Although the division he is giving of bhakti, but he is now dividing the people. And other thing which remained is sarva anger, to do bhakti in an angry mood. And bhinna drik bhavam, to have a different vision, to distinguish among the devotees, or to see the Lord only in the temple and don't care for anything else. So this type of discrimination, this is called bhinna drik bhav. So such a person is called tamasa. Abhisandhaya sankalpe. Abhisandhaya here means sankalpa. So with this resolve, with this intention that I am doing this bhakti so that I want to take revenge from somebody. So people also do that. There are also people in India who do, like, they are thieves or dacoits. They also go to temple and they pray that if I am successful in stealing or looting, then I will come and offer this much. So this is tamasi. They are doing this with this intention. Their intention is not that they are interested in bhakti directly, they are using the bhakti. They are utilizing bhakti for their goal, their purpose, which is harming others ultimately. So that is tamas. Because tamas means destruction. Tamas is destroying something. Sanrabhi krodhi. Sanrabhi means angry person. And bhinnadrik bhedadarshi. Swasmin eva parasmin api sukha dukkham samanam na pashyati niranukampa. So he translates here as bhinnadrik means one who is not compassionate. You cannot feel the pain and pleasures of other person, but only bothers about oneself. He is hungry, he has food to eat, he eats. If some other hungry person comes, he doesn't want to give. Although he has the food, he says, forget it. So that is called bhinnadrik. ये मयि भावम भक्तिम कुर्यात satrividho api tamasa. So he said all these three types of people, they are all tamas people. Asyas tamasya bhaktes traividyam spashtam uttam brihinardiya. Then he quotes Brihad Nardiya Puran, where further three divisions of this tamasi bhakti are given. There is tamas, madhyam tamas, uttam tamas. There is a good tamas, medium tamas, and very bad tamas. So yaschannasya vinasartham bhajte shraddhaya harim palavat pritipala sabhakti tamasadhama. Says that, O king, the lowest type of tamasa bhakti, tamas adam, is that when a person performs devotion to Lord Hari with faith to destroy somebody, hinsa. So that is the lowest among the tamasa also. Yorchet kaitav dhiya swarani swapatim yatha Narayanam Jagannatham Savai Tamas Madhyama. One who worships the Lord with the cheating propensity, just like an unchaste woman may serve her husband. Means she is having an affair with another man, but she shows her devotion to the husband, and then she will be more devoted, so that she doesn't get caught. So like that, if you are devoted to the Lord, but you have some other intentions, you may not be really devoted to Lord Jagannath or Lord Narayana. So then that is called Madhyama Tamas. So you may do it because you want to show you are a great devotee, Damba. So that is also cheating. Dev Puja Param Drishtva Spardhaya Yorche Dharim Sunutsva Prithvi Palasa Bhakti Stamasottama. And then he says that someone sees that there is another person doing worship to some other deity, worshipping Shiva or Ganesh, and then you do worship of Lord Hari better than him. So that is called best tamasa. Because this guy is not trying to harm anybody. He is also not tricking someone. He is just doing out of competition. So this is the best of being a tamasa. So these are the three divisions of tamasic bhakti. Evam rajasya sattvikyasya bhakti त्रैविध्यam yuktam drashtavya. So in the same way, it says that Rajasi and Tamasi Bhakti also has three divisions which are described there in Virinadya Puran. He does not quote them, but says one can refer also to them. So this is the Tamasa, and then he will describe Rajas and Satvik during the tomorrow. Any questions?
He cannot understand how it works Bhakti in Tamas.
How it works? Well, you do some service to the Lord and you have a motive, so He blesses you. It's like you go to office and you do service there, but you have a motive that you want a paycheck. So that person says, okay, you work for me, I'll give you money. You can also work without any intention to get anything back. You just become devoted to this person you like and you serve. That is another way of doing service. So then of course that person will be very much affectionate to you and will take care of you. You have a personal relationship. In other case, it's a business deal. You do something for me, I also. So Lord is compassionate that you are looking here. That's why you are called tamasa. You are so ignorant that after coming to the Lord, you are desiring such low class things from Him. So He does that thinking that at least He has come to me instead of going to Bin Laden. And then one day you may improve and start thinking that why I am doing bhakti with this intention, I should do pure devotion. So that also He will say that these people also will improve. They will come to pure devotion.
Does the Lord attend His violent wishes? Does the Lord reciprocate with His violent wishes, Himsa wishes, intentions, like in Tamas? If He wants to harm someone, like you said, how does the Lord...
Yeah, He can bless like that. Or He can also change his mind and purify him. It will come. Because when someone's, like in case of Dhruva Maharaj, he was also doing with this competitive mood. And then when he saw the Lord, then his mind changed. So this is what happens. Yes.
Can you explain me about the meaning of Jagannatha and house Jagannatha, because I don't know, this is my first time that I'm looking about Jagannatha. So
Jagannath means, Jagat means universe and Natha means master. It's just a form of Krishna. So it means Lord of the universe. It's one form of Krishna.
The problem is that when we're still influenced by the gunas, we generally don't see it. So we see this phenomena. You were saying that when a person is motivated, to get something, either to harm someone or to get some recognition or whatever, they apply themselves very, very strictly, and so they may seem like, oh, this person is very serious, this person is a very good devotee, and the person themselves may be thinking, yes, I'm a very good devotee, look at these other ones, they're not doing anything.
Yes.
So when this is all kind of unconscious drives and motivations that are spurring us on, to our activities, and so if we don't even see them,
Yeah, that is even more dangerous.
how can we become free from these influences?
That is tamas. Because he said, Abhisambhaya tu hinsa. You make resolve. And then there are people who don't even know that they are having this desire and they are working in that. So it's difficult. You will only understand if you hear Shastra and this analysis. That's why this analysis is done. Otherwise there is no need. Because this type of propensities are there inside us. So therefore Lord is explaining so that we can search our own heart. Am I doing anything like this? Otherwise, really speaking, he should just describe what is pure devotion. So why these devotions are described? Because we are not pure. We have impure intentions and we may be motivated by those intentions to perform bhakti. So it is one thing to be impure and then have a pure intention. That I have many desires in my heart, I am not free from anger or envy or this. But I resolve that I want to get rid of them and I only want pure devotion. Another is that I become overpowered by those intentions or desires and then I use bhakti for that. So then I am becoming a tamas bhakti. So not to become that, then we have to study Shastra, hear these descriptions and then see if I have anything like this.
It seems that even the whole discussion of Sankhya is with a similar motive.
Yes.
To make us understand what is the Atma, distinct from buddhi, ahankar, manas, and so on. Because we tend to be so identified with the body, with the mind, with emotions, with intellect, that we can't, even when we approach devotion, we're holding to a self-concept that is, as he's describing, this pritak bhav, this separatist mentality.
Yes.
And hence reducing devotion to just a conventional worship, as we've seen in all the major religions of the world, that where you find devotion is generally reduced to this a separate self, worshipping some separate God to get something.
My God is better than your God. Therefore I am better devotee than you.
That's terrible.
Because it seems like as you're saying in Bhakti Sandarbha or any of these discussions, that 99% of the discussion is what bhakti is not.
Right. Actually most of the talk is what is not bhakti. What is bhakti? There are only two slokas. First was this Devanam Gunalinganam Anusvari Karanam Sattva Manasavritti Swadhavaki Kriya, that sloka, and now he is going to speak that Ganga Musuyata. That as the water of Ganga is flowing, like that your vritti flows towards him. These are only 2 verses basically in all Bhagavatam. Let's talk about maybe 1 or 2 in 11th Canto when Krishna is speaking. But other than that, most of it is what is not. All this mixed, this, that, all these stories. Of course, 10th Canto is talking about pure bhakti, gopis and their dealings with Krishna. And there's a lot of description what we have to avoid. Because we are in that situation. We have impurities in our heart, we have impure intentions and motivations. So we have to understand that. So therefore the sincerity is very important and always be on the guard. And we can also falsely think I am sincere. It's very difficult to see one's own faults by oneself. Because when someone else tells, we become upset, not to speak of seeing it ourselves.
It seems that introspection is an inevitable part of bhakti in reference to all this information.
Yeah, it is very important. It's very important.
Self-analysis all the time.
And you have to be always on the alert. So therefore in Bhagavad Gita the whole allegory is battlefield. Why this particular situation has been chosen? Because battlefield means it's a question of life and death. You make little mistake and your head is off your body. So you have to be very alert. So like that we have to. A small mistake and you're thrown off the guard.